Hey there, everyone. Take two on this. Apparently, the first take had terrible connection. Don't know if it was being messed with or what. But, here we go again. Jordan here. Thursday, January 10th. And we're going to talk about this story in this video. Daily Beast headline says, QAnon-believing Proud Boy accused of murdering lizard brother with sword. Really weird. And we're going to talk about it because the mainstream media is already trying to spin this story, twist the facts, and bring forth their own particular narrative. As you can already see, QAnon believing Proud Boy accused of murdering his brother. So first, before we dig into the Daily Beast reporting on it, and before we dig into this guy's Facebook and a lot of the research that I've done on it over the past day, let's go to the local news to get the backstory. If you haven't heard about this, let's go to the local news to do that. Oftentimes, you can find basic facts better from local news than you can with the mainstream media. The mainstream media is what they spin the narratives with. Local news here says, Seattle man jailed, accused of killing his brother with sword. And then it goes on to say, 26-year-old Bucky Wolf from Seattle is in jail after prosecutors say he killed his brother Sunday night by stabbing him in the head with a 3-foot-long sword. Gruesome shit. Police said Wolf called 911 around 6:40 p.m. and said he had killed his brother in a Seattle house. Deputy prosecutors said in court Monday that officers attempted to question the defendant, who appeared to have mental health issues and claimed to be schizophrenic. Prosecutors said that Wolf was hallucinating when detectives responded and appeared to be believing the detectives, like his brother, were turning into lizards. Huh. So this 26-year-old killed his brother, slashing him up with a sword, and he was hallucinating when detectives arrived. They proceeded to book him, and he is still in jail. All right. So let's go back to see how the Daily Beast is spinning it. Now remember, Daily Beast, this was actually the first outlet that I saw report on this, and I was just like, what the heck? The Daily Beast is one of those propaganda outlets the deep state loves to use to discredit, to throw shade on all the lovely conspiracy theories that they're trying to confuse people about. The Daily Beast is owned by a corporation called IAC. It's a network they're working for. And IAC, who's on the board of directors of IAC? Chelsea Clinton. Yeah, connect the dots there. Also, one of the members of the Bronfman family is on the board of directors for IAC. IAC also owns Newsweek. That's why the Daily Beast and Newsweek often have pretty much the same article sometimes, and they try to discredit a lot of the same topics. So you get the gist. Whenever I see Daily Beast, I go, oh, I know it's probably going to be some spin on their story. A lot of spin here. So what the Daily Beast did, Will Sommer, of course, one of their main journalists they use, he says here, a self-proclaimed member of the far-right Proud Boys group who also believes in the QAnon conspiracy theory allegedly murdered his brother with a sword. Wow. They say a Facebook page confirmed to belong to Wolf is filled with references to Trump and other conservative figures. He's far-right. He's into Q. They're basically writing Q about every other line here. So they're definitely trying to paint QAnon believers as being violent, paint them as being mentally ill and deranged, and get the mass public to think that. That is the spin they're putting on it. But let's take a look. So let's actually go to this guy's Facebook page. Let's take a look at Bucky Wolf's page and see if all these claims about it are true, okay? So going to Bucky Wolf's Facebook page, here it is. And you'll notice there ain't much on there. No timeline, 2 whole posts. You go to his photos, there's really no photos of him. It's empty. You know what's interesting? This just got sanitized. So here's a Twitter thread. Actually, a lot of the information I'm going to have to reference my Twitter thread I did yesterday on it because I took a lot of screenshots of his Facebook that are up here that got sanitized. So keep that in mind. That's definitely something weird that's new. But anyway, I talk about in this thread I did on it how a lot of mainstream media is trying to discredit it and spin their narrative, go on into then decoding his Facebook. Here's one screenshot of his timeline, some of the photographs. And there was some references to Q, but There's nothing from the Proud Boys, okay? Nothing from the Proud Boys. Actually, that Proud Boy connection that the mainstream media is trying to drum up, this guy was featured in a photo, apparently, that I don't know when it was taken, with some Proud Boys from the Seattle chapter, but he's not actually listed on their official membership sheet for the Proud Boys. So he's really not part of the Proud Boys. Is he a QAnon believer? Sure. We have a meme. We have Pepe there. But that was pretty much it. You know, I frankly wish I was going to do this video and take you guys through his whole Facebook. I didn't know they sanitized it and made a bunch of stuff private or deleted it or whatever. But that's funny. Who did it? This guy's still in jail. So who has access to his Facebook? Interesting question there. But I can't take you through his Facebook now. But what was interesting to me is that they say he is a Q believer, but what was on his Facebook was really not that much Q stuff. There was just a couple memes. He posted a post here and there that said Q in the caption, but there was no signs of him actually being a QAnon believer. When you look at a QAnon believer, follower, someone inspired by Q, whatever you want to call it, when you look at their timeline on Twitter or on Facebook, it's filled with like all sorts of posts every single day, multiple posts. People that follow Q follow it and are inspired by it because they're trying to share as much information as they can. So you'll go to someone's Facebook who is a Q believer. You'll see a bunch of praying medic videos on there. You might see some destroying the illusion videos. You'll see a bunch of memes, and they'll talk about the sealed indictments, and they'll link articles, and they'll link things because they're trying to get people to research. This guy's Facebook page was weird. It was really weird. There wasn't much on it at all until this year. Frankly, it looked sort of manicured. It looked manicured. And a lot of the photographs this guy had, they were alone. Just photos of him. One photo with somebody else here, somebody I'm presuming to be his brother, but it's just him. Okay? So in my mind, either one, his Facebook page was being manicured so they could run their psyops in the mainstream, or two, maybe he just posted some stuff here and there. You know, maybe he didn't use his Facebook too much to share Q stuff. I could believe that. And if this actually were photographs he posted of himself, he could have been a lonely individual. You know, somebody who is going through their awakening process, going through that dark night of the soul phase, that can get very intense, very emotional. If you don't know how to protect yourself, how to heal, how to cope, you don't have a support system around you, yeah, you could have a very tough time with what you're going through. But here's the thing, though. It's nothing violent. There's no violent photographs. There's no violent memes he shared. His timeline that he had, there was nothing violent. In fact, I found some pretty happy posts. Take a look. I got a screenshot from a post here he made near the end of 2016, 2 years ago. And it says, "Don't pull people down to make everybody the same level. Lift them up." Pretty happy fella, it seems like. At least he wanted people to be happy. Check this one out. This was only from about 4 months ago, September 2018. It says here, "It warms my heart to see Black Americans break free from the hive mind mental prison and come together to save our great nation." That doesn't sound violent. It really doesn't. Okay, so there's just some peculiarities with this guy's Facebook timeline. Was his Facebook page manicured? Maybe. Was it him? Could have been, but he didn't seem violent. And he just seemed like somebody who was being ostracized in his social circles and maybe a little alone. But what I did notice is that towards the end of 2018 and just over the past week, really, his posts on Facebook and actually his YouTube channel, he has got a YouTube too. He's really only been posting videos on his YouTube channel over the past week or two. They did get pretty intense. They did get emotional. There's a couple videos here where he was crying. He was talking about state of the world and stuff, and he was having a difficult time doing so. He didn't really know too much about the state of the world. He wasn't too eloquent with putting it together. I think he was just getting into a lot of this, and he was having an emotional time doing that. You can see here, this was... We'll go through some other posts of his in a sec here, but I'm just priming you with where his mind was at. About a week ago, 10 days ago, this was the last post he shared where people we're starting to be concerned. So this is one of them. This was a screenshot apparently from some YouTube video. He was saying that he talks to angels. He's not the only one. So the past couple weeks, he was, saying some weird things. People are checking in on him. Bro, are you okay? Are you on drugs? Yo, bro, get in contact with me. Some other people, you okay, my friend? I'm here for you. This was 5 or 6 days ago. So this was before the incident with his brother. Some things were going on. Same thing with his YouTube. His last few videos, definitely getting weird. Now here's where it gets weird, gets interesting, gets intriguing. You can see on his Facebook here, this is difficult. I don't have his Facebook to really reference. I just have these screenshots. But on his Facebook, his bio, look what the intro says, the bio says to his Facebook. Fight gang stalking, aka covert harassment. Wow, gang stalking. What the heck is gang stalking? He says it again here in this post on back in September, about 4 months ago. This guy has the description of gang stalk, the best description of gang stalking I'd ever heard. He posted a YouTube video of somebody talking about gang stalking. He said it's the best description he's ever heard. He then says, P.S. Notice his mouth. It does the same thing mine does. He's being hit with an LRAD. I can spot the symptoms from a mile off. So Bucky Wolf here is essentially inferring that he gets hit with what's called an LRAD because he's gang stalked, because he's a targeted individual. What? Who's he targeted by? Why would they be doing this? Who's doing it? What are they doing? First, let's define gang stalking. This article here by the Global Research, I'll post and link all of this that I'm talking about below this video. It says, United States of Paranoia, surveillance of suspects or gang stalking targeted individuals. This came out July 26, 2018, about 6 months ago. Global Research, great website. It says here, I'm just going to read the first couple lines. The police routinely do surveillance on suspects. We all know that. The DEA, FBI, CIA, and a whole host of other agencies also do surveillance on suspects. What we don't know is how they pick their suspects, how they do surveillance, how long they do surveillance for. It's a bunch of clandestine stuff. It's a bunch of questionable stuff, but it happens. Without a doubt, the number of suspects has increased since September 11th. It goes on a little bit down here. It states that Dr. John Hall, a documentary filmmaker and expert on gang stalking, estimates that the number of people targeted in America can currently be thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of individuals. That seems like quite a lot, but nevertheless, there's a few people that they have targeted for these programs. Who does it? Rogue intelligence agencies, it looks like. What do? They try to target people and get them into mentally unstable states. They target them, they literally follow them, they do stuff like this to get them into a state of paranoia, so they get PTSD, they get a fractured consciousness. When people are in paranoia, when they're scared, they're going to be easier to mind control, okay? And it needs to be said here that there's been individuals throughout America's history for quite a long time who are mind controlled to do different things for deep state agendas. Okay? How are they mind controlled? Let's talk about that. Then we'll talk in a sec why. So first, let's reference this guy's post again. He said, P.S. Notice his mouth. It does the same thing mine does when he's being hit with an LRAD. What's an LRAD? LRAD stands for Long Range Acoustic Device. According to Wiki, an LRAD is an acoustic hailing device developed by the LRAD Corporation to send messages and warning tones over long distances. LRAD systems are used for long-range communication in a variety of applications, including as a means of non-lethal, non-kinetic crowd control. Basically, LRAD systems shoot sound waves, sonic vibrations, a distance, okay? You ever heard of something called the voice of God technology or the voice-to-skull technology? Huh, let's take a look at that, because that has everything to do with sending sound waves into somebody's mind, getting them to hallucinate or hear things. I'm going to reference this article by Wired. This article is from 2007, quite a while ago, 11 years ago now. It says, the voice of God weapon returns. Wow. Somebody somewhere got a little bit of a truth into the mainstream here. This article from 10 years ago. It says here, the voice of God weapon, a device that projects voices into your head to make you think God is speaking to you, is the military's equivalent of an urban myth, meaning it's mentioned periodically at defense workshops, and typically someone whispers about it actually being used. Now, somebody is writing in a legit journal describing their encounters with this urban myth. Is there any basis to this technology? This article continues to write. Well, Holosonic Research Labs and American Technology Corporation both have versions of directed sound, which can allow a single person, check this out, to hear a message that others around them don't hear. DARPA, oh great, we hear about that agency. They're always into good stuff, right? DARPA appears to be working on its own sonic projector. Intriguingly, strangely, strategy page reports that troops are using the long-range acoustic device. There's our LRAD as modified voice of God technologies. So the voice of God is basically technology. It's been around for decades now. Who knows how advanced it is these days or how they do it, but basically they use technologies, they use platforms to send pulse-modulated frequencies at a target, and they can embed programs into that target's subconsciousness. They can literally embed operations. They can embed controlled thoughts. They can make somebody do something with subliminal messages into their subconsciousness. Real stuff, guys. Real stuff. So when we have mass shooters who think they hear demons, Parkland shooter, I linked it in my Twitter thread. Let me find that. Boom! Parkland shooter blamed demon in his head for school massacre. Wow, did you ever hear about this one? And he's not the only one. We have actually quite a few instances that we can reference that have happened over the past few months, year or two even, recent, where somebody heard demons. They heard things in their head telling them to kill, to shoot, okay? Programs were being embedded. They find the people who are unstable who they can target because those subliminal messages, those sonic projectors will embed into their alters easier. When somebody's in a state of fear or trauma, you break their consciousness, that alter in their consciousness can be controlled. There you go. MK Ultra, let me tell you, they found some pretty crazy things when CIA was doing the MK Ultra programs back in the 60s, right? And as we've been saying lately, those programs didn't go away. They just got reprogrammed, modified. They started doing some different things with consciousness, what they can view with someone's consciousness and how they can program it. So Parkland shooter blamed demons in his head. We even had a Q post from 23rd of February, about a year ago, said, wow, after the Parkland shooter, analyze the shooter, he's a pawn, voices in his head, we know. Looks like Q knows all about voice to God or voice to skull technologies. I'm sure they do. But analyze shooter, they're pawns. These people are pawns, guys. Shooters, you see all these different shooters with their wacky eyes. They've been mind controlled. We have shooters that hear demons in their heads, that hallucinate, that think people are lizards. You know, we have all sorts of different instances where these guys are people hallucinate, see things. They are then programmed to do stuff such as go into Comet Ping Pong, shoot a computer, and wait for the cops to show up. Then the mainstream media can run all these hit pieces on the on Pizzagate, saying, "Oh, it makes people crazy and deranged and want to go into Comet Ping Pong and shoot the place up." They mind control people to do things such as drive onto the Hoover Dam and spout a bunch of weird Q stuff and stuff about Trump and then surrender to the police. You see, then the mainstream media can run all these discrediting hit pieces saying that QAnon makes people deranged. Conspiracy theorists are nuts. That's the first thing they want people to think in the mainstream. So what better than to, it's basically a false flag. False flag is a big umbrella term for a lot of different operations that you can psyop with. So it's basically a false flag. They mind control people to do stuff like this for false flags. So there you go, guys. That's a lot of different, that's analyzing this guy, this situation. The mainstream media, they're just trying to run wild on it. I've seen articles by the Daily Beast, the Huffington Post. I've seen Twitter threads from mainstream media guys trying to spin this in every which way they can. That's why I want to do a video just on this, go through his Facebook, go through all this different research to show you guys that, well, talk about two things. Number one, This stuff happens. We have patsies out there, people who are in unfortunate situations, who are targeted because they're in those unfortunate situations, and they are used by some sick individuals in these clandestine operations. Stuff exists. Number two, we really need to reach out to each other. We need to connect. We need to extend a helping hand to those going through their dark night of the souls, going through their awakening process, and make sure that nobody is isolated, nobody is alone, nobody is going through it without the support they need, because then they can get put into situations like this. Okay? That's not okay. We don't want that. Where we go one, we go all, right? We can't leave anybody behind, mentally, emotionally, or physically. And then it also should be known that, well, you see this guy's Facebook page already being sanitized. Sounds like he may have had a handler, or at least some people following him. These intelligence operators, they're really good at what they do. They're really good at framing narratives, at framing situations. I mean, just look at the mail bomber they found. They found that van with 8chan messages posted all over this van. It looked like it just got decaled the night before. And who's this weird guy that's been seen at Trump rallies, but he's got all sorts of different names. And then we saw even one of his online profiles switch from Democrat to Republican in real time. Just, they will literally go to no end to try to, control people's minds, to get this out in the public domain, to avoid deep state downfall. Deep state is some sick individuals out there. So hope you enjoyed that researching. Again, I'm going to link all these links, my Twitter thread down below. Go check them out. Thanks for watching, guys. Be doing more videos like this, live videos, more in-depth research, a lot more stuff coming. Thank all you for your support. Thank all you for following along. Take care, guys.